Hi, everybody. My name's Kyle. This is CRE number 4, and today we're going to be discussing suicide. For this assignment, we've been tasked with imagining that we have an opportunity to get our ideas out to every American, and we want to clear up one thing about suicide. One thing I'd like to clear up is the idea that if somebody has decided that they would like to commit suicide, that there's nothing that's going to stop them. If the path that they've chosen to do it has been blocked, that they'll just find another way. We know that's not true. And one of the reasons we know this is from one of the concepts in a course media and something that we've gone over in lecture with Dr. Hernandez several times. That's coupling theory. Sylvia Plath talks about that in Talking to Strangers, one of our course medias. Coupling theory is this idea that if somebody has been an emotional attachment basically to the method in which they're committing suicide. So, for example, if somebody has chosen that they're going to jump off of a bridge, it's typically very specific. It's not just any bridge. There's an emotional tie to the bridge that they've chosen to jump off. And if they were to go to said bridge and there was something stopping them for whatever it was that stopped them from being able to jump off of that bridge, it's a lot less likely that they would commit suicide at all, because they have an emotional attachment to that specific location. This is something that we've learned about in another course media. Kevin Hines talking about surviving the unthinkable. He jumped off of the Golden Gate Bridge. One of the reasons he chose the Golden Gate Bridge is because it's kind of a very commonplace. A lot of people have jumped off of the Golden Gate Bridge as a way to commit suicide, and seeing other people jumping off of the same bridge kind of gives validation to a person, to select a specific method of suicide. That's another thing that we've talked about in lecture is this idea that seeing somebody having or knowing of somebody that's committed suicide in a specific way can potentially give validation to a person and give them the idea that they are okay with committing suicide in that fashion as well. Another example of this was Jeffrey Ruoff, talking about between not wanting to live and not wanting to die. Another course media that we read through, where he had decided that he was going to go jump off of a bridge as well to commit suicide, and you find out that his brother had also committed suicide in that way. So that idea that had been implanted to his mind, he saw his brother go through the similar struggles and was going to commit suicide in a similar fashion. There was this emotional attachment for him to just want to jump off of a bridge. Um, if we were to talk about this more, bring this information to light, and really make this more, bring more awareness to this idea, we could potentially be saving thousands of lives. As Dr. Hernandez stated in lecture, every 10 minutes in the United States, somebody commits suicide. It's a terrible, terrible thing to realize is happening. That we let this happen. That many people are committing suicide. It's absolutely horrendous, and there's things that we could be doing to prevent this from happening. Maybe if we brought something like coupling theory to light to where more people understood it and more people knew about it, we could put preventative measures into place. Even if it's just like bridges, like the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. We talk about that one as being a very famous place where people go to commit suicide. And there's nothing stopping really anybody from doing that. There's park rangers that's part of their job is to make sure that people are being safe while they're on the bridge, but those are not therapists, those aren't counselors, they're not equipped to be able to deal with that kind of situation. And maybe if we spent some money to prevent things like this from happening, maybe putting nets over there so you couldn't jump all the way down, it would prevent people from dying altogether. Another thing that Dr. Hernandez talks about in lecture is that suicide attempts are more so successful in men because men typically choose a more violent way of committing suicide. It's more final, such as gunfire. Um, Maybe bringing this idea to light that if somebody's chosen a specific fashion in committing suicide, that if we're able to block them from being able to do that, um, we can save lots of lives. And I'm not saying that we should take people's guns away. I'm very pro Second Amendment. But if we know people have mental health issues and this is something that they're thinking about, um, I think it would be beneficial for everybody if we could find ways to prevent those people from harming themselves, because at the end of the day, the thing that we want to do the most is save people's lives. We don't want people dying when they don't have to. I interviewed two people for this, my friend Cole and my friend Tennyson. They both had some pretty similar ideas respective to each other. We differed kind of in what we were talking about. They both kind of wanted to bring to light that suicide is not necessarily something that happens to one demographic. It's not uniform to where it only happens to people that are more fortunate or less fortunate, or black, white, whatever race, whatever religion. It doesn't matter. This is something that anybody can go through. Everybody has their struggles. Cole really emphasized that people who are viewed as more popular, they can definitely have those same struggles. And even though you view them in that light, like they're very popular, they have everything together, they may be having other struggles. And then Tennyson also was talking about something similar with people who are more financially wealthy, having a higher tendency of committing suicide than people who are lower wealth, lower income people. But they both kind of had this common idea that this can happen to anybody. So we didn't really talk about the same ideas of what we'd like to bring to light. But we all thought that if we could bring these ideas to the forefront, talk about them more, have more of a civil conversation around them, we can help to potentially save more lives. Because at the end of the day, that's the main goal when we talk about suicide, is finding ways to prevent people from committing suicide and get people the help that they need. Thank you.